Hi, my name's Rachel. Today I want to speak to you about something that I know a lot about. This feeling of just wanting to curl up into a ball, to go within, to not be around others, to kind of just sit with our own stuff. I've done a lot of this in my life. It comes with, I'm a projector, emotional projector, 3-5. I've got the Emoting Channel in my human design chart. So I have felt a lot. I've gone through a lot of melancholy. So my 3-5 in my human design chart basically is to say that my life has been about going through something, learning that wisdom, going through another thing, learning that wisdom. And it kind of feels like it's just been this battle, this through the, I feel like I had no control over what has happened in my life. Yet I've got control over what I am, who I am. That's what I'm learning, is that despite what's going on outside of me, I control what's going on within me. But sometimes I don't even have control over that. And that's the difficult feeling. It's kind of like, well, I want to be able to control something, but it feels like I'm having to release control completely this lifetime, to just let it be how it's supposed to be. I could be in the worst place right now. I've gone through a huge amount in the last couple of years, but I'm kind of like, well, I can't do anything about that stuff that's happened. It's been good because I've got some people around me that I've been able to confide in. They've held space for me to offload, and I appreciate that. And it's funny because when someone allows us to do that, holds space for us to do that, it lets us know that we're not alone, that there's someone else out there that's willing to hear us, and truly see us. And it's a nice feeling. We need to be mindful that we're not shifting away from everyone else and not allowing them within our space. What I've kind of just over the last couple of days is learned that empathy is an interesting thing. Empathy is feeling what the other feels. It's sharing that same emotion. So it's kind of this understanding of how that other person feels. Something that a person spoke about, her channel is Light Resonance, was this thought that empathy is sometimes selfish. And I found that quite interesting because I think that she's right there. Something that she spoke about was this thought that compassion is far less selfish than empathy. We can sit there and we can cry with someone else, and that person might then turn around and try to stop crying or stop being, simply because they're worried about us then. Whereas if we have compassion for someone, we're listening to them, we're holding space for them, we're allowing them to be. So it's shifting to being compassionate. And it's good to be an empath because we can kind of understand how that other person feels. So we can have compassion for that other person, but we need to be careful, be mindful of how we're offering that compassion to the other. But at the same time, we need to speak what we speak, feel what we feel. If we feel something, then we shouldn't be holding ourselves back. So we need to find a kind of balance within ourselves so that we can offer that balance to the other. The interesting thing that I've found is that when I put myself around people, quite often I'll feel this melancholy, but I try not to show them too much of that melancholy. Is a difficult thing, but at the same time, we can become that victim within that melancholy. We kind of, because we feel so deeply, we're kind of like, oh, I can't. But to actually not abandon ourselves in that moment is the important thing. When we learn to have compassion for ourselves, then we don't, I guess, need to push that empathy onto the other. We can hold space for ourselves. And that's a good place to be able to reach. With all this, the fear that's out in the world today is something that I had a huge amount of trouble with at some point. I could feel everything and I just wanted to escape. I wanted to go from here, I wanted to go to the country. I don't know whether that would have fixed it, honestly. At the time, I was watching some of our premiers, the press releases and stuff like that. And I was looking at the news and the happenings and stuff far too much. Now I see them still now. I look at them still now. But I kind of, I guess, have learned to look at them in a different way. I kind of semi-detach myself from what is going on. Because I've realised that to take that on board and to feel the fear of that, the fear is just an illusion. And when we get sucked into that illusion, that's when we kind of lose ourselves to the fear. And fear is a barrier to love. So if we're sitting within fear, if we're taking on the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions from those different things that we see and hear, we kind of lose ourselves, I guess, and we can't show up in this world in the way that we could if we were balanced within ourselves. So to kind of know and understand and look at our emotions and sit with our emotions as they happen, rather than to set them aside, push them down. If we allow those emotions to come up, this is the inner child work. If we allow those emotions to come up and we actually feel them, feel through them, sit with those emotions just for a while and just allow them to be. Because if we don't allow them to be, then all we're doing is sticking them in a box. We're not allowing them to escape. We're not holding space for them to just simply be part of our experience. We're kind of like, no, you can't be there. It's not okay. So to actually allow those emotions, to allow the sadness and the anger, the fear, to actually allow them to be and look at them and go, okay, well, what is within this for me to learn? In allowing them to be, allowing ourselves to look at those, even though it's hurtful, even though it's painful. In allowing ourselves to look at those, we can shift ourselves forwards. We can move past that pain. We can move past that fear. And we can come out the other side with more wisdom, being that better person for the other. Whereas otherwise we're kind of stuck in this fear, this pain, this suffering, this negative emotion, this pessimism. if we're sitting within that, we're not becoming the best version of ourselves. So it's about moving past that, finding a way to heal from that, finding a way to feel through that, which is a difficult thing. It's not the easiest thing. Like I said, sometimes I feel like just curling up in a ball. It's actually a gift for me, because it allows me to see what I need to see so that I can then embody that wisdom and then provide that to you. So, and you might be on a similar journey. You might be learning this self-growth so that you can then share that with others. Or you might be on a whole different journey, but you need to understand how you feel, what you feel, and be able to bring that out so that you can then heal that and move past that so that you can do what you're supposed to do. It doesn't have to be that you're a healer of others. What will you do with your life today to push past that fear? Are you going to watch more of it, be consumed by it? Or are you going to work to shift past it, move through it, move beyond it? In the present moment, we stand where we are right now. Tomorrow, we will not be the same as we are today. Well, we might be, but if we are, then we're not doing the work. If we are, then we're not committed to pushing past this, to becoming that better person, to freeing ourselves from those chains that bind us, that stop us from moving forwards. We can either stay right here, or we can shift, we can expand, we can become that person we're supposed to become. It's up to us. Now you could say to me, well, Rachel, you don't know what I've gone through. I've gone through all this stuff and it hurts. I cannot move past that. A lot of us have gone through a huge amount of stuff. Everyone's stuff is different. If I was to put my stuff in the middle there, and everyone else was to put their stuff, dump their stuff in the middle there, would you want to take another person's stuff? Perhaps. You might just take your own stuff back because you're like, well, okay, I can see that's a lot of crap that other people have gone through. See, with my stuff, I understand it because I've been through it. But if I was to pick up somebody else's stuff, I haven't been through that. How am I going to know how to embody the lessons from that? And that's what this is all about. We're here to embody the lessons that we learn along the way. And I guess that we look to guides to help us with that, but it's until we actually hear those things or understand the lesson, that's when we come to a point where we can move beyond whatever it is that's happened for us. And I mean, we might come back to it. I mean, I've come back to different things over and over again, and someone will say to me, you should get over that. You should be past that by now. No. Sometimes we need to feel that again so that we can understand the next level lesson within that. So we can understand how to fully release, fully let go. Sometimes we haven't fully let go. It's still somewhere within us, but we weren't prepared to look at that little piece that was still there. And so we need to come back to it, and back to it, and back to it. And that's okay. It's when we're kind of like, well, no, we need to shove that down deep inside of us. That's when it doesn't get looked at. That's when we cannot, we don't actually get past it. So therefore, it's not actually helpful for someone to say that you need to get over that. Sure. It kind of just shines a light on this fact that we're still not over that. We think about it and we're kind of like, well, yeah, maybe I should be over this. But we're all on our own journey. We can't be in a different place than we are at right now. So just embrace that and go, okay, well, I'm right here. That's okay. And I want to get there. How do I get there? And just kind of take those steps, and gradually you will get there. You don't have to do everything all at once. I used to try and do a whole heap at once, and then I'd get overwhelmed and go, oh crap, I can't do this. Or I would try and do something and I would feel this fear, this intense fear, and I'd kind of go, well, that's not for me. I can't do this. But now I feel the fear and I do it anyway. I'm kind of like, no, I'm pushing through this fear. Stuff it. And I push past it anyway. And I just take those small steps as I can. I don't go, well, I should be over there right now. I go, okay, well, how do I get there? Let's start moving towards that. So, and as I've done so, I look back and I go, oh, wow, I have come so very far. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel abundant and happy and grateful that I've been where I've been. Because I can now look back and go, well, I now embody all this wisdom from these past experiences. I can appreciate the experiences that I've gone through. Even though they hurt sometimes, it's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel pessimistic sometimes or negative sometimes. If we don't feel through that, if we push it aside all the time, then we become this sort of toxic positive. And to become toxic positive isn't helpful to ourselves, and it isn't helpful to other people. When we're toxic positive, we fail to really truly see and hear what the other has to say and what we are feeling. We kind of just push that aside and go, well, no, that doesn't belong. I'm going to be optimistic, and that is it. And to me, it's kind of like, well, if we're living that toxic positivity, are we being authentic? Or are we wearing a mask? Not a mask of pessimism and shame and, whatever. A mask of positivity. And so we're kind of blocking part of who we are. We're living half a life, in a sense. So is that a good thing? So it's kind of like this, I kind of see it as this pendulum or scale or whatever you want to call it. And on one end we've got pessimism. On the other end we've got optimism. And we can swing way, way, way too far towards pessimism. And that's not good. And we can swing way, way, way too far towards optimism. That's not good either. We want to sit somewhere in the middle where we can see things from the different angles and kind of go, well, it is what it is. And just kind of feel what we feel in the present and allow our emotions to be, and not go, well, you shouldn't feel that, you shouldn't feel that. Allow our emotions to be and have compassion for ourselves as we feel those emotions. I think there's a lot of power in that, and people don't see the power within that. That's how we come to a place where we can kind of walk through life and just stand within this, like not feel so all over the place, not feel this chaos like we used to feel. We start to kind of feel this balance within our being. We kind of start to embody that. And I mean, I haven't got fully to that place. I still go through some stuff sometimes. This full moon stuff has come up for me, and it has been helpful, but it hasn't, because I can see what I need to see. And a few people have just showed up for me this full moon and listened. And that hasn't happened in a long time. And it's partly because I didn't really want to share with people. And I think people knew that. I wasn't ready to share. But now I feel ready to share that part of myself. And I've realized that I worry too much about speaking my truth to people. I don't want to be the victim, but sometimes we kind of need to just offload. Sometimes we need to allow someone else to hold space for us. We need to receive. And offloading can be receiving sometimes. If someone truly hears and sees us and allows us to just speak those words without judgment and without them freaking out because they can feel what we feel. When we're here to have compassion for the other and hold space for them and allow them to be, allow them to just to feel the depth of themselves and to show us the depth of themselves. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing if we don't show our depth. Sometimes we're not ready to do that, and that's okay. But our authenticity, if we show up authentically, then that leads us to show our depth. When we speak our truth, when we show who we are, people have respect for that. And I'm finding that more and more, the more I move towards that. I used to be scared to speak in a video such as this. I don't feel that scared today. And that's me pushing past my fears and just continuing to build on who I am and allow myself to feel that fear and go, okay, well, you feel that, understand, but we're doing it anyway. Come with me. And at some point we get to a stage where we don't feel that anymore. It's kind of just subsiding. It's in the background a bit more. I guess I have a bit of nerves and fear, but it's not like when I first started. If you go back and watch my first video, you can probably see that I'm a little bit nervous. But I kind of feel like I've shed a lot of those layers and I become less nervous. And I'm okay speaking my truth. And if someone feels there's wisdom within that truth, then fine. If they don't, then that's fine too. I'm kind of learning to just be who I am. And the people that are meant to be around me, the people that I'm going to help, will be here. The other ones will kind of just move on. And that's okay. I've found peace within that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's helped you in some way today. If you've enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.